So I want to share kind of a funny story. So when I was having my life review, it was like a lifeline, like a timeline, like with the line and then those, like a vertical line. No, like a horizontal line, like a long one, and then vertical lines. But it was also kind of like if you've ever done a computer video editing, it just had images and feelings of the lives that I had led. And at the time I didn't know. Anyways, it was like, because of the whole time thing, as not only sequential, which is how I primarily live chronologically, which is, it's an interesting way to live. It's also happening all at once, like all the time exists. And so, like, for the life review, I could see the whole timeline, and I could see how what led to what, how this led to this, and but I didn't remember the experience, so I could see it, and I could be like, oh, so for instance, there were lifetimes where there was a lot of horrible, and I have to say the horrible because it's in comparison to now when I'm so happy and so fulfilled. Horrible relationships, or horrible times of relationships where there was a lot of fighting, a lot of miscommunication, a lot of willful miscommunication, a lot of lying, just anti-love, and then seeing how I worked through that to obviously be the person that I am, but the person that I was when I had this review was, it was in January 2020, very early in the year. And so anyways, there was one that was sweet. There was a lot of making love. There was one that was a lot of jazz music. There was one that was, as far as the rhythm of, dang, this is really hard to describe. As far as the rhythm of the life. So when I was describing the relationship, the lifetimes where relationships were not love, I kind of consider them as moving towards love, or at some point there was a point that I had to be like, I need to heal. And these things can't go forward with the life that I've dreamed for myself, or that I wished for myself, or that I desire for myself. So that's what I mean about lifetimes, because when we choose something new, technically we're being born into a new life, a new timeline, right? And so in that review of my life, my lifetimes, and those are my earth lifetimes, and there was a lot, and they were relationship based. It was the relationship focus. And so there got to be some ones that were so sweet. There's dancing, there's music, there's health, there's joy, and I got to an end point. And it was so beautiful. I won't describe it. I can't particularly all the way describe it, but it's bliss. It was a beautiful city, just this beautiful sound, which the closest is we would call is music and singing. But yeah, so anyways, it's so good. So it looked like, whoa, and the chronology, that's my end point, that's my end soul journey. Oh my gosh, I did this. Because to be able to see it meant that I had, for me, experienced it and succeeded. Like, it's, to be able to see it means that whatever I was doing, or whatever I had done previous to this life review, had been a success. And look at this vision, look at these visions that I can have of my timelines, my lifetimes, or if one multiple timelines, parallel lives, all of that, right? So I was choosing which energy I was going to go into for my next incarnation. And so I was looking at it, and it's sort of like, think of a piano where it's like the 88 keys. So I was looking at it like that, and so those are notes and those are tones, right? And so I could choose. And I was like, ooh, that one sounds sweet. That one, that one looks great. And then, because I kept looking at the whole thing from left to right and seeing what I was my endpoint at the time, which was so beautiful, I was like, I want to see how it begins. So I didn't incarnate. I didn't choose a next vibration. I went, I'm putting quotes back, to right before I had the life review. And so, but if you kind of can follow that, I was already changed. But I didn't want to skip anything. I didn't want to skip any of my soul's journey to get to what I thought was an endpoint that was so lovely. So I was like, I want to go back to the beginning, and I want to do every step, and I want to live my life as if it is successful, as if this is a review. There used to be a show when I was younger called This Is Your Life. So to live that, so everything's bonus, and it's been bonus. And I'm not saying it hasn't been challenging these last 5 years. I'm not denying those challenges. But these things came up in the midst of my joy, in the midst of my success. That energy is always there. And sometimes I can't show it or express it because it's not appropriate to the circumstance, or I just want to protect it and feel it myself. Shoot, you know? But yeah, I wanted to share I just wanted to share a little. I just wanted to share a little bit. Happy July 4th to whoever's watching it at this point in time on the Sacramento, California, or West Coast, United States. I can't tell what the time is, but it has to be around 1600 or right before that, because I didn't leave until late today. Yeah, thanks for listening. I just wanted to talk, and it's just, the thinking is so interesting because the thoughts are not ever sequential. They're not ever, and that's why painting is so great, because there's so much color and so much room for expression and so many ways to tell a story that it doesn't have to be sequential. I don't start from left to right. I don't stay in the same, like I'm painting, and I love painting. I love being a painter. And I smoked some chat GDP and cherry fluff and floating island and a little bit of yerba mate mix. And so this is my food. I love it. And I usually get not to endorse, but I mean, now that I've shown it, shoot. I usually get a baby big, small big at the beginning of the month, and then I like hemp. I like hemp lick. So you light this to light this, and then I'm smoking out a glass. So I'm getting the purest. I'm trying to, anyways, which to me, the purest relationship between the fire and the flower and the container for it, and just it's a whole thing. I love smoking. I love marijuana, and I love glass. yeah, I just love the whole experience. So anyways, when it's windy, because I don't have a lighter that stays on when it's still windy. So when it's windy, I can't do that. I just use this. But I'll light it and let it go out and just use the very tip because it's still hot. And so I just hold it into the flower longer. But yeah, when I use this, it's so I'm not getting directly these fumes in my nose and everything. I can light this. I like the way it smells, and then I can light the whatever, you know, and then I'll leave it. Like I'll put it up here, and it'll be smoking. So I'll just watch the smoke, you know, because sometimes about smoking, because I stopped smoking for a while. I started smoking CBD, and that was maybe in 2018. No, before 2017. So it didn't have the psychoactive, so I was smoking it. I was trying to get friends to smoke it with me so I could see what the difference between in my internal, not what somebody has written, but I wanted to see what I felt when I smoked CBD versus smoking what I consider regular flower. I mean, the distinctions are, that's not fair. I will say smoking CBD and smoking non-CBD. So I wanted to know how I felt, and then I wanted to know how the people closest to me, who I would make mixes for, I wanted to, but nobody wanted to because they didn't want to risk smoking and not being high. So here I bring this up. Dang, I don't know why I brought it up, but I will say when I only use this when I'm out. When I've had my own place, there's this it looks like a big ball of yarn, and I'll get that because it's $20, and it lasts for, mine lasted for 2 years and 4 months, and but you have to cut it, so it's like a beeswax ball, but it looks like a ball of yarn, and then you just kind of pull it out and cut a little. And so I would cut like maybe 6 or 7 strands and keep it with me, and yeah, it smells good. Yeah, I just like it. Hemp wick, the other one, the one that I'm talking about, was beeswax and hemp, a hemp wick. And so yeah, I probably should be too embarrassed to post this. I'm feeling a little, but I also wanted to share, and this is what's happening right now in my life, and my life is super good right now. I'm so there's challenges that I'm dealing with, but I'm just feeling really like I can deal with any challenge. I feel like I got healthy in a homeless shelter. Like, it's been 13 months. I'm almost out of here. I can feel that energy. I'm optimistic. Oh man, I'm proud of myself, because like every day, even if it was like a half of an inch of step, like at the end of the year, it's just accumulated. There's just so much. I'm just so pleased with the goals that I met for myself, with that's a harsh slap, but with the setbacks that I've had with certain people who misinterpreted me, attacked me spiritually, risked losing me by lying to me. I've had a lot of personal experiences here, and then watching people. I'm not desensitized to the homeless population, because I'm a part of it. So I lived in a tent under the freeway. I slept under the stairs. And I was painting when I was doing that, because it's a gift from God. And I haven't shared as much. There are videos on my channel that have a little bit of them. I haven't shared as much because I love it, and I guess I feel protective of it, and I just because I don't have social media except for YouTube. So in the last 4 years on this journey, because officially I became homeless August 2nd, 2021, which was my 2-year anniversary for painting, and but I painted that night because it was my anniversary, and it's my connection with God, and my connection with love, and my connection with humanity, because my stuff is, I call it soul expression, but it's like whatever you see, you see. That's your vision, your opinion, your experience is valid. That's how and I get to make it. It comes through me, you know. And it's like, it's my stories, it's my travels, it's conversations, it's everything. So this is something I want to share. People have shared with me over my lifetimes very personal things where I know that they haven't told anybody else. Like, sometimes they'll tell me that they've never been able to open it up, and I don't ever tell anybody, but it's in the paintings. And so it's one of those things, it's like, you're not going to this, going to that. You know, that's what some of it says. It's like this pain or this anger or this confusion or this starting over. There's so many things in them, but it's just saying, like, we're united in love and experience and creation. And I'll be sharing more of them, but I didn't finish the thought previously. In the last 4 years of this journey, I've just been sharing with the people that have been in front of me, because it was important to me to do that, because strangers were going to react the way they were going to react, and I get to see and they get to tell me what they're seeing. They're reading the work. It's communion. It feels that way to me. Other people, they don't, they might not know that, but that's how I feel. And the 2 years previous, when I got the gift, August 2nd, 2019, I started to lose people, and I didn't know that. I was like, this is all our love, this is all my life, this is what we've done, everything that you've given me is in this, every conversation we have, every wish that, you know, I can't, it sounds different how I was feeling it then. It was exuberant, it was pure, and it was like everything that I had been through in those 41 years, like, I wasn't a waste. Nobody wasted time on me or money on me or prayers on me. I wanted to say, look, this is what has come from that. I was living the life that I wanted to live, which is one of self-reflection, one of healing, one of in service to God, one in service to self, just healing myself and bringing that healing energy to others. And it was conscious. It's been something. And so I was like, look, this is the results. I can show you physically what I see is that all the colors go together, that there's always beauty in the hardest time, in the most challenging times, the most painful times, and grieving. Like, it was like, ooh, this is what, you know. And then people were not happy for me, jealous, which I understand jealous of. I've been around jealousy my whole life. I didn't recognize that behaviors were based on that, but I always thought about people are jealous, maybe it's inspirational. Like, I didn't think of it, I guess envy might be the right word. I didn't think that it was poisonous the way that I've now seen it since 2020 and on. So I got to, you know, for 2020, you know, the world, we got to see mask off, we got to see what we value, what we truly value, and how we want to live. You know, a lot of people got more creative and creativity, and that energy boosted the planet and boosted us as a collective. And so I started feeling that this beautiful gift was turning into something that of loss and pain, and I still did it. I just stopped sharing it. With people on the internet, I guess I would say. It's a very, very few. But yeah, the people there's been no one here, but every other place that I had been, there was at least one person that went through all of the work that I was carrying at the time, and I usually was carrying about, at any given time, a little over 300 pieces. Some of my pieces were like little 3x5 cards, and a lot of it, because I was traveling, was on paper, so I just have binders, and, you know, I put in protective sleeves, archival, but these were easy to move with. And so there, everywhere I went, there was somebody that looked through all of it. And so that's reading the journey, that's reading the intention and beauty, and God, you know, it's God. I had asked God in my early 20s, you take care of the quality, I'll take care of the quantity. And it was something that I wrote out, but it was in watercolor. And I was talking about my writing and my poetry and screenplays and, you know, short stories. I was talking about that. I'll take care of the quantity, take care of the quality. It's like a teamwork makes the dream work type of thing. And then the gift of the paintings came through. It was like a high five, and it was like a good job, and sit down and look at what, you know. It's spiritual. It's the journey. It's just lovely. And so I'm in a space where I am painting in public again, so that's different. And so it's sharing that way. It's not just me with myself, and it's not just the digital art that I've been practicing. But yeah, painting in public. And one guy told me today, because I was taking pictures of some that I did 2 days ago. I was looking for light, and so there's a middle section where there's tables where people can hang out or draw and stuff like that. And so I was taking pictures, and he walked by, and he was like, "Oh, these are nice," and it was 4 pieces. And then he came back. He walked away, and then he came back, almost like a double take, but a walk away and come back. And then he's like, he started looking, he was like, "This one," and he was just saying what he saw in it, and he was like looking for, is that right? Is this like a river? Is this like a, for, you know? And I was like, I love when people tell me what they see, because it helps me see it in a different way, you know? It's a gift. It's the gift that keeps on giving. I love it. And so then he walked away again. And then I bought out a few other pieces that I made this week, because I'm, again, taking pictures. So I was just, sometimes I'm making so much that I haven't signed them, and I sign them on the back. I never sign them on the front. I might have 2 pieces, period, out of the hundreds that I've done, that I've signed on the front. I'm making a face because it's not mine. It's for the people who are viewing it. I don't want it to be I don't want a signature to interrupt the work and the mirror and the game and the puzzle. It's just So I'm not saying that I would never, but it's a philosophy thing. I just feel like it's let the work be, let the painting be it. So let it just be. And so, but of course, I think that we have our signatures within them. So I'm being. So then when he saw the second set that I bought out, which was 6 pieces, he was like, "Oh, you surprised me. You surprised me." And then he told me that he's a chosen one, and I don't use that term for myself, but I love that he can express that to me. I was thinking about just now when there's a song called "I Choose You," and the singer's first name starts with a K. So I don't want to mispronounce it. And there's I love that song. So it's "I Choose You," and there's an acoustic version or a live version. Her last name starts with an L. So the first is with a K, and the last is with an L. And I can see it, but I can't. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I don't want to mispronounce it. But anyways, I was thinking about that. I choose you when I thought about the chosen one and him saying that he's the chosen one, and that people use that term, the chosen one. And I was thinking about I choose you, but I was thinking about I choose God. So, and that's why I got sappy, because I was like, I choose God. I would always choose God, and God, I feel. I mean, it's a reciprocity thing. God chooses those who choose, you know. So I just got all serious. And so, yeah. So this is the experience of, this is what I'm doing. Oh, and so I'm also being like a little bit silly because there are people at the facility that would be like, what do you do? What do you, when you leave here, you know? And then there are people who are curious about me who won't come up and talk to me, which is fine. The question might be, why won't I go up and talk to them? Because I'm living a good life. I have good energy. A lot of times I'm praying when I'm in there. I want to build on the highest love that I can. And so there's not a lot of room for frivolous. I'm not seeking. I already have. So when I'm talking to people, I usually go to say good morning, and if I see anybody before I leave, I get to say happy Friday or happy Tuesday, and then check in with people who I have rapport with. How are you feeling? Did you sleep okay? How are your daughters? You know, like, and I have time for that because that's the time that God has given me. This is what I'm doing with my time, and I think time is a precious resource. And before 2020, I would always say people are a precious resource because they're irreplaceable. So that's how I lived those first 41 years. Well, consciously since I was 16, but I count the time before that because I count all my time on every age I ever was. But so anyways, some people wonder, and maybe one day they'll be watching this because they'll be like, let's see, you know, and I'll be like, this is what I was doing on July 4th. Well, you asked me what my plans were. You know, my plans were to you know, I did my prayer in the morning, I did my rounds. I got to talk to somebody, and we got to talk about, there's an issue going on here. There's an issue going on at the shelter right now. It's in transition from being partnered with another entity, or corporation, or business. What's the right word for it? And that contract is ended, so they're doing their own thing with the city now. And yesterday something happened for me where I had to express that I was offended to my soul, that I was offended in my spirit. I never said those words. And I've gone through a lot of things. It's just, there's just, and maybe I I don't want to talk about it what it is now, because it's going to be resolved. But it doesn't affect me, it's everybody. It's not just like, this is not me having an issue with it's like all of us. And so it will be resolved, and I will talk about it. It's like, it's I wish I would know. I'm not trying to make it all mysterious. It's something, it's almost like dealing with something in the house, something that has to be resolved in house, and then it'll I was gonna say reverberate heaven upon out. So it's gonna be worked through. But yeah, so I got to talk to somebody about that and how I was working through it. And what I told him was, I call them my ancestors, and I thank my ancestors, and I thank God for making me, and I thank God for making water and life, and man, just to be grateful, which I'm always grateful, but because of this situation and how I've had to navigate it, and it's not a big deal, but I had to think about, it was unavoidable. I'll say this is an unavoidable thing. So I had to think about, okay, am I going to be thinking about this when I'm out? This is my life. Am I going to be carrying this? No. Somebody was like, oh, we'll talk to blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not carrying this for 4 days. No. So I was trying to think, how am I going to get through it? And then, some people might say above it, but it's like, how am I going to, so it was to be thankful in a different way, to be more concentrated. So I've got to tell a couple people this. Oh, man. Yeah, it hasn't even been 24 hours. Maybe right about now. It started yesterday afternoon. So last night I got to tell somebody who works here, God is greater. There's not going to be a time, I think, because I was like, so if it's okay for a divine being, a child of God, then it's fair for everybody. And he was like, I believe in God too. And I said, okay. I said, because he was like, I'm telling you that this is how, and I was like, and I'm telling you, when we have our life reviews, it will not be acceptable. Oh, I was just doing my job. When you know better, when you know that you're not doing right. So these are choices that people are making. And so, because he was like, I'm saying, I said, I'm just saying. So I wanted to make it clear that we have exchanged information. I have identified myself. You have identified yourself. And you are saying that you are doing this because it's your job. You have not stood up for us. You have chosen to enforce. Yeah, so and when you know better, when you know that it's not a good thing. So so when me and my guy were talking about that today, we were laughing because I'm like, I talked to my case manager yesterday. I said, people are forgetting that this is a spiritual war, but this is God's realm. People say, oh, no, God made everything. This is God's. We already won. This is victory. Jesus already, this is done. This has been done. It's irreversible. So anyways, so I was like, okay, God is greater. This is God's realm. And that is about life. It's about life. And so, kind of obviously skirting around it, but the main thing is that there are things that are going on, and when things like that happen, it's like I level up in a way. I didn't think about it that way, but somebody had brought that to my attention. What happens is that I have to think about how I am going to navigate this and still be happy, still be in joy, still be in the present, because we are dealing with it, and be prayerful. So all it does is bring me closer to God and make me more concentrated. Of course, I do my yoga, I do my yoga, but now it's more I listen to my prayers, I do my prayers, I honor the people that I'm engaged with. Like, when we have a new person that started earlier this week, so possibly right before July 1st, right before we started a new month. Yeah, it's a contract with Sacramento. It's a contract with the city. So she's new, and something happened on her second day where she was being friendly, and I was in a mood, and she was trying to gauge, like, to see what I'm about, kind of thing, like that. And so it wasn't, so we didn't get into it or anything, but I just was like, so anyways, today she said something like she wanted to apologize about, and I was stopping. I was like, I was coming, I have my own thing going on. And then I said, okay, wait, I need to hear you out, because you want to apologize for something, and I'm going to listen to you. And I said that out loud to her. So this is how we're engaged at this point. This is how we're communicating in community. And so she told me what she thought about what she said, and then she talked to somebody about it, and that she didn't mean any offense, and that she, and then I told her energetically what I felt. I said, I knew that your intentions were good. I knew that I used 3 adjectives, but energy is truth. It's not just that energy doesn't lie. Energy is truth. So I knew that she was innocent and coming from a good place. That's what I said. I said, I knew you were coming from a good place. And I just didn't want to. It's to do with being a part of the LGBT community. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to 101. I didn't want. It's very rare that I'm 16 years in. Then I joked with her. I said I'm a teenager. What do you expect? So I'm 16 years on T as of June 3rd, and so we were. So I'm bringing this up that when we were talking today, and she was apologizing, and then I was like, let me just listen to you. It helped, and we just we got to laugh at the end of it. It's just friendlier, and it's just accountability, and it's like it's just nice. It was just nice. And I told her, I said, one of the things is that there are supposedly 8 billion people on the planet, whatever the number is. I said, I'm with you all right now. I said, we're together. You all are the most important people too, and so she received that. And so it's really cool to be able to express yourself and to be able to